Hey everyone, we got some attendees going, and so glad you guys could join us. I'm going to bring up the panelist here, and we'll share that out. Can you guys see the slide deck?
Indeed.
Okay, good. My name is Jerry Sherstead, and welcome to this webinar. Had a few technical difficulties, probably seen that on television occasionally. But welcome to the Generative AI-driven marketing, sponsored by Mountainise. Today we have some guest panelists who are experts in this field. My name is Jerry Sherstead, and then we're going to roll down to the CEO of Mountainise. His name is Jalil Nawaz. And then he's the CEO of Mountainise and kind of put this together. Then we have Chelsey Reynolds. She's a revenue operations leader at Envase. And then we have Matt Swalley, who is the chief business officer and at AI marketing technology platform called Omnikey. So welcome again. We'll stop the share and we'll continue talking. We've got some really cool stuff. I have a long history in marketing and I love anything new and fresh. AI is, I think we can all admit, at a certain level, really cool. And then on another level, it's slightly scary and kind of crazy, the kind of stuff that's happening. So we're all kind of holding on for a rough ride ahead, right? And but there's really some hot stuff coming out with generative AI, and especially as it pertains to marketing. And that's the space that Mountainise lives in. So with our first segment, we got some questions we're going to ask our panelists. And in the audience, if you have any questions, you can chat those in, and then we'll try to work those in as we go. Our objective here is to talk about some foundational understanding of Gen AI, how it works. So just out of the gate, maybe we can start off with Jalil. Jalil, what is generative AI and how is it crucial in the forward, this AI train as it relates to marketing?
I think before we dive into that, there is a very basic concept of just understanding the AI versus generative AI. So, which is since the generative AI is something which has become a buzzword lately in 2023, and everyone is so much focused that the traditional AI has been kind of like it is going in terms of buzzword. The traditional AI is used less with respect to generative AI. So the generative AI is I would say, if you mention the airplane cockpit. So if you just take the generative AI, it's a really fancy, maybe a first class cabin where you have all the amenities and everything, but you still have to have that traditional AI in place. So primarily generative is something which is adding those aesthetic features, which previously was a little bit difficult based on the individual input. Like a very basic concept, everyone uses ChatGPT. So you just put something out in there as an input and you get something out of that. So now you imagine the same thing out of that contextual. Lately, there is a video, it was a deep fake of Morgan Freeman, I guess, and it became very viral. So that is another form of the evolution of the generative AI. Then it is going into the customer service, then it is going into the SEO, then it is going into the other part of the customer experience. And so traditional AI has a full-fledged, very powerful solution, but generative is something which quickly the marketing world can use to make the customer life much more easier, experience more smooth and transitional kind of thing. That's my take on it.
Yeah, that's good stuff. And as we move forward with AI and in its integration with marketing, I think that we're just going to get more tools that will streamline the process and remove some of that manual lifting that takes place. And the AI will help marketers do a better job, right? So when we talk about the integration of generative AI with marketing, um, how has the AI in the past year reshaped marketing technology? And anyone can jump in there. Maybe Matt, what do you think?
Sure. Yeah. So the content creation cycle spans many different people, and it can take a long time historically. I mean, a lot of enterprise could take 4 months to have a campaign from ideation to from strategy to ideation to copywriting to image or video production to approval to trafficking. Well, today AI can plug in every aspect of that creative cycle. The last 2 years, the new AI tools could solve a very small need, and it still had some issues. Today, businesses are plugging it in and building a workflow where you use the tools to empower the entire creative cycle. So today, for example, like you could think of your new ideation all with AI by plugging in different customer profiles with different locations. AI, generative AI, is trained on tons of data sets, or there's something called retrieval augmented generation that can be learn on new data sets or enhanced data sets. And it's going to do a lot of the ideation process. It's going to make it more localized. It's going to pull in your copywriting, and then you could do image generation based on AI, or you can use product photos, and then it's moving on to video, like Jalil mentioned a second ago, where you have either AI can help scan through computer vision and learning lots of video assets, learn from them, automatically pull and cut them into little slices, or you can use full AI avatars. And so all this combined shortens the cycle to hours or minutes instead of what used to take 4 months. And we're entering a stage where there's 10% human input on the front. What are your goals, objectives, your audiences? AI can do the mundane middle 80%. The last 10% is human review, edit, approve.
Yes. I think kind of a use case. So, if you're Apple or Coca-Cola or, Boeing or whoever, kind of seems like those guys have endless buckets of money and budget. They can go out and hire the top movie stars and produce mini movies and create all this creative that takes months and millions of dollars to do, right? Then you got the companies that are kind of in that middle section that many times have very tight budgets, tight schedules. And if they want to create some, we're not talking about top level, top notch creative, but good creative that is effective. I can see where AI would plug right in there and A, knock it out quick, and B, the budget is pretty minimal, considering compared to the other process.
And Jerry, just 1 second, because I know Chelsea needs to add on. Reacting to data with AI and computer vision, understanding what's in data and machine learning is getting better and better. So you can react much quicker to what's happening in real performance data and marketing.
Yeah, that's cool. Go ahead, Chelsea. Did you have something to say?
Yeah, like Matt said, with the creative side of things, it's pretty mesmerizing. Just for if you need a brainstorming, you can put in, hey, show me a picture of a dog enjoying a Coca-Cola, right? Or my pet's enjoying a soda, whatever. Just quick idea. And images can come out that might not be anywhere close to where you're going to end up, but it starts the creative juices. So from the creative perspective, it is really helpful, no matter how large or small your organization is. And then I'm excited to hear what Jalil and Matt have to say about the targeting perspective and how the technology is being used kind of behind the scenes to get the right message in front of the right people at the right time. That's what's pretty exciting to me on this call.
Absolutely. I've done lots of testing over the years, and I have to tell you, there was a few tests that I did personally that really reinforced the importance of creative headlines and creative. It can make such a huge difference because if you're speaking that language to your targeted audience, they generally listen, and everybody's trying to poke their head out of this big sea of noise. And, that's how you do it a lot of times with that creative piece. So talk about some of the primary strategies for incorporating generative AI or Gen AI within marketing technology. I think OmniKey is one of them. Maybe Jalil, you can talk a little bit about how we're going to incorporate the generative AI into marketing technology going forward?
I think the biggest piece which is right now in a limelight at this point is the targeting and the personalized content, which Chelsea also mentioned and Matt also mentioned. And that is the most important piece of the information. Like we have experienced previously that there is a customer who is looking for something very specific, and the marketing automation system and the other, advertising platform has been serving a different piece of ad or offer, which is never been going to be a part of the attraction of that whole customer segment. But with generative AI, we can see it's changing. Like there has been some even retail shops, those retail shops have been consistently applying the personalization. When the customer comes in, the offer, the discount, and everything in that shop relates to that customer. And people, if someone is looking for a specific offer at a very specific time in a specific when it comes down to retail in a specific shelf, they need to see that kind of thing in the digital experience. And companies have, in the past, companies were using for the personalization almost 10 to 30% of the automation. Since the generative AI embedded in with the API integration and with some platform capability and some of the automations, as of now, some of the companies have taken it to the next level up to 93%. Like there is a very rare chance that you think or you wish for something and it doesn't happen. So that is the level of personalization, I think, is the biggest one which is happening. Beside that, the text generation, the conversational AI, the image generation, the video, music generation, those are also something. But the marketing guys are using it for the sentimental analysis to make the people life much, much easier, which is scary to some extent as well. But it is also great to just, add that value. Like imagine if I like something in an incognito window somewhere, and I'm doing something, and now my data is so much I would say, like it is interpretable, that beyond my demographic factors, now people would be able to see, okay, what is Jilly exactly doing in this area, what is he actually looking for. That's where the generative AI is going, and we are almost there. I would
Yes,
love
that's
to Chelsea think about it.
yeah. Go ahead, Chelsea.
Step even further back. So as a marketer, how you're going to use any AI tools, generative AI tools, I would say start with who are you, who's your customer, and what's the point of your company? Like, why do you even exist? So, and if you don't know that, are you going to use Gen AI to kind of come up with ideas to tighten that message up? But if you just kind of put in I'm a car company into any sort of system and expect to get results, it's going to be all over the place. You need to have a clear voice or use the tools to develop a clear voice before you dive into, okay, what campaigns am I going to do to target this this audience? You know what I mean? So I would say start there. Is there a purpose to your business? And what is it? Who needs it? Who are you? And then plug in the tools.
Makes sense. So Matt, maybe you can speak on, it's easy for some folks to think of AI as this big monster that's running around and it's going to eventually devour all the humans on Earth, right? I kind of think of it, and hey, not saying that might happen one day, but right now I kind of think of AI as just another tool. You got automation tools, you got, software, all these are tools to get you from point A to point B. Talk about, where generative AI and marketing technology, give us a sample, give us, like a use case and an actual example of, a customer that's using it in how it turned out, if you got one.
Sure. And I just want to talk on one other thing that's evolving in marketing. So personal information is getting more and more restricted. So now today, creative is the major lever for performance and distribution. So now companies, just like Chelsea was saying, your audience, the creative has to align with those audiences. And there's two different ways of targeting. One is using the algorithms, Meta, Google, all the largest ones. There's algorithms that just know the end user. You load it with creative, it's going to send it to the right person. So if you don't have the right creative, it's not going to optimize. The second one is you can target more. And from our standpoint of Omni, first we start with the data. So each of your campaigns could have a different audience, different type of targeting, or you could be using those other types of optimization or algorithms that just automatically distribute. Well, our platform will learn what's driving clicks, purchases, leads, whatever your conversion is. It identifies what's in the ad through computer vision. Not only can it output information, it can also input information. So it's learning what are the qualities for that restaurant that is driving localized ads that is actually driving interaction. And there's two different ways you can use those inputs from the messaging, the color, whatever's in it. One is you can use AI to really quickly iterate minor tweaks from those ads. This is a performance marketing thing that minor tweaks can really skyrocket performance. So that's a quick way. The second is brand new ideas, which Chelsey mentioned. And so say you're a restaurant or selling a product or service. Well, you can put in who your audience is. You can pull from the data, the main keywords that are resonating. Those are going to go into the ads. Third, you can pick, oh, I want to market product sales, emotional appeal, et cetera. And it's going to come with different ideas for emotional appeal, et cetera. You can put in your tone, or language models also are learning directly from brand documents now. So you can upload your brand documents. It's going to identify what's your tone, all the colors and everything. And it goes directly into ads. And then so it's a much shorter cycle, Jerry, where Omni, for example, helps you create content. It could be hundreds of iterations of ads, more micro-segmented. We can use the word personalization. Nothing is one-to-one yet in digital advertising. It's an email, it may be, but it's more micro-segmented, and then you're launching and learning much quicker in the cycle.
Makes sense. Yeah. It's hard to get, data security and personalization is kind of at odds a little bit, because we want to talk to Betty Smith, who drives a Cadillac, and she lives here, and she has this kind of house, and she has 3 kids, and we want to personalize all of that communication. But, you got to get that data first before you can talk to her, right? So what are the main challenges of adopting generative AI in marketing technology, and how can we address these challenges? Jalil, you want to take that one?
Yeah, so actually before that, there is just one use case, which is a kind of very interesting use case I found recently. Like the MasterCard has one of the, I should not say that, but they had one of the most difficult checkout on their website throughout from last decades. And someone from the team, from the innovation or the marketing or the creative team, decided to use the generative AI concept, and they wanted to do a kind of very specific test. And the test was exactly what Matt mentioned, but on the user interface level. So the moment it was deployed, in a very first variation, it created approximately more than 1,200 variation of the same checkout page. So now you as a consumer, you may not notice it, but the checkout page is updated from last couple of months. So it's basically, there is a minor thing which the AI, actually generative AI, helped them to identify, and it was related to the CVV and the way it was placed. And after it was being the test completed, the change is deployed, the conversion rate is increased by approximately 1.1%, which is massive in the case of a checkout, a gateway. So it is, purely amazing when it comes down to that point. Now, when it went to your, and actually, Jerry, to your question, I some of the questions just slipped out of my mind. Can you please repeat that?
No, don't move. Let's stay on use cases. Because I found some more. Is that's okay, Jerry? I don't want to.
Yeah. No, rock and
All
roll.
right. So we've got hyper personalization, we've got the content creation and the content pivots. Like what Matt talked about is super fun, right? Oh, let's tweak this little thing. Then we've got process automation that GenAI can do, that the marketing department, how does it interact not just with prospects, customers, and internal teams to give what I would call the feedback loop on super speed. So what ideas are out there, what gaps are in the market, how can we improve our product? Our current customers aren't hearing from us or having troubles in customer support. How do we educate them on how to put a ticket in? those would be the two other places, the process automation and the feedback loop that GenAI can do, which would help marketing and sales in the future as well. And then for use cases, we got Kellogg's was scanning the recipes that were trending on all different social channels, blogs that either did incorporate cereal or should incorporate cereal. And then they started creating posts and campaigns around, Rice Krispie squares that they should do with this or other type. I can't even think of a recipe, but it came up with a whole campaign just based on GenAI scanning what was other people were creating and saying, maybe you should use cereal for this, So I thought that was a neat way to put ideas out there into creative.
And that's kind of based on interests, right? And so, I mean, that is, open. I mean, there's no privacy issues there. People are out there posting, Rice Krispie treats, and it's trending. It's like, bingo, we got a hot button we can jump on. And so, Matt, how would that translate into some creative, like some Facebook ads?
Well, one is you can move a lot faster on testing. So the old way was you thought of an idea, you had a team go out and try to market it and figure out what, in surveys and different ways of, is it resonating? Well, today you can create that new idea and you can go put a budget behind it and go see, are people interested right away? You can go get a million eyeballs on it. And if a bunch of people are clicking, then you need to go create that product. So there's one. The second is enterprise is in this state of, it's a top-down initiative, implement AI, but they're also on this other side. They're like, we're risk adverse. We're worried about the complications that AI can bring. So how do we begin testing? Well, one is the best part about today is there's AI leaders out there everywhere on social media. You can follow them, see how they're using it. The second is you can just go create a fake brand that has no data behind it and just go start testing a bunch of the products. And one of the other fun parts is like our product pieces together a lot, plus our own technology, is you could take a product photo, you add motion to it, throw it on an ad, generate a bunch of AI copy. Those are just like the pieces. And then you get like the recent Sora update where it's just beautiful video. So, we're there. The next step is, how's it going to start reading my brain, Neuralink and all this other stuff.
So I have a question. I kind of feel like, you go back 10 years ago and you had humans that were generating written content for blog articles, let's say, and a lot of junk out there, but there's a lot of really good, thoughtful stuff written by people who had great ideas, and then they turn them over to, their local copywriter or creative writer. And the net result is you got these just smoking hot, really relevant articles. And then you bring in AI, now you got a ton of people just throwing junk on the internet because they think it's content. Content is content, right? But who the heck wants to read it? You start reading it and you're going, man, this is just AI. You get that vibe. So let's fast forward with the creative side we're just talking about. At what point do we start watering down the really good creative?
This was if I'll hop in, this
Yeah.
was my question about one of the challenges is how soon is it going to be our content's just pulling from other people's content from other people, and a game of telephone has happened. And then all of a sudden on top of the blog post, it says 100% human, this is real.
Right.
It's kind of like once you could do plastic surgery and tanning and change, I have, this isn't my real hair color, but once you can do all that, does everybody start looking closer and closer? We all have the same lips, the nose, the eyes, and then what's beautiful, it's kind of the same for me with, if all the blogs are the same or all the information on this topic is kind of like, do I even want to read it? Or do I even want to watch that video?
It starts becoming boring. I mean, I don't know. Maybe AI will just keep getting better and we'll stay ahead of that human curve. I don't know. Anybody have a thought on that? Maybe Jalil?
Well, I mean, so I would love to hear the Matt, thoughts first before maybe I bash too much on the AI part. So we would love to see what Matt thinks.
Look, so we're testing a lot of different things, and that's what multivariate creative testing is, Jerry. You have to be testing user-generated content. You could be testing AI avatars as part of your creative. You could be testing lots of creative. You could even be testing some of that old way that copywriting was brilliant, where people would sit in a room for a week and come away with something magical. You could just
Right.
keep testing and you learn. The hook's the most important part of a video still. Like, you
Yep.
have to catch someone that first 2 seconds. If that's not good, no one's going to watch the rest of it. So
Right.
it's just a constant testing loop, and no one really knows where the immediate future is going to go.
No, that's true. If we
Yeah.
could predict the future, we'd all be rich, right? So
One of the-
Meredith, go
Ah,
ahead.
Here is
One of,
here is the thing. Go ahead, Chelsea.
okay. So I was gonna say, one of the challenges that I read about was the empathy piece that's missing. I don't know if either of you have insights on that, if that's changed since this December article I read.
Today, there were some new launches with AI avatars saying they're much improved the tonality and everything. So that it's getting slowly better. And then the other last thing, just real quick, is you've noticed some of the ads out there where people just film a selfie, or that some of the top performing ads, they don't even have a production cost on it. So you never know. You got to test a lot.
Well, and I tell you what, so I used to be a radio producer. I used to produce shows. I had my own radio show for years. And you get really into this concept of creating high level production, you know, $20,000 cameras and high end editors and 4K and all this stuff. And then you see people in a closet with no lighting holding their phone, jib jabbing, and are getting like 10 million views. And then you start realizing, you know, it really is the content. The production is always a cool thing, but you can have really bad production and great content and still poke through.
So
Kind of a
one thing, Jerry, which
yeah.
so it relates to the previous point about the content and how the quality content and how it is, everyone is using AI. So I mean, on a very transparent level, we did try that for our own content marketing. Like we try to embed it into okay, so it's a very genius AI. Let's use it, let's train it, let's give it our thoughts, and it is going to do all of that shit which we are doing on the daily basis. And
Yes.
it actually we ended up into a black hole, we would say, and it was worst nightmare. So then we had to just and we did an audit that what went wrong. So even you look at Google today, you search for something, the top results which you're seeing, they are not piece of crap. They are really some of the best quality content which are either written by someone very genius or a creative approach. So you will find all the pieces of content which is just stock generated by AI somewhere on page 6 or 7 or onward. So the first thing which industry have done, which I appreciate, that they put all of those before the generative AI is maturing. They started maturing the algorithm ranking, and that is what is creating a differentiation between what a real quality or the creative content is versus the content which can be produced. The concept of generative AI is not about to replace the whole copywriter. It's like to give a piece of information which someone would read a 30 article just to curate a new piece of information. So that's how, if we think in that way, it is empowering. But all the companies which has, especially a lot of companies have done that, they have integrated the blog system with the full of the AI. So you don't see them ranking, and they will go out in next couple of not months, in maybe 2 or 3 quarters. The things are changing very fastly on that part. Even on the ad ranking, and Matt have a better insight to that. Even on the ad side, if you are generating too crap, which is not adding a user experience value, which is not giving that kind of stuff to your customer, you're not going anywhere.
That's true. I got some questions here from the audience that I want to address. Meredith is asking, and let's try to do a rapid fire and then get through some of these questions. Meredith asks, how do we see generative AI changing the Marchscape, like the tech stack and its biotech usage? Anyone want to grab that one? How do we see AI changing the Marchscape, like the tech stack and its biotech usage?
Short term, well, biotech. I don't know. On biotech,
That's
Well-
it's a little, that's above my pay grade.
beyond the marketing. But I would say like that's a little bit of the sensitive topic to just comment even on the biotech side. And I think the biotech is has no direct relation with the generative part. It's more of a neural slash traditional AI, the enforced method of the AI, which is adding much more value. The generative could be maybe somewhere just as a piece of information, but that's how I see it.
Okay.
Healthcare, biotech, and these are not something which may get much value out of the generative part.
That makes sense. Mohammed is asking, are there any limitations or challenges with using Gen AI in MarTech? Any limitations or challenges?
Yeah, we're still in the very, very early stages. So most of the technologies are working through how to solve real business problems. So just get,
Yep.
sometimes you're going to do something absolutely amazing. And another time you might be working a little bit longer on it. But as you get better at it, prompt engineering and piecing together the tools, that's where it really starts to make things much better.
Absolutely. Chelsey, here's a good one for you. Sean Milan is asking, how strong can generative AI be in RevOps and sales assistance? Could we be soon seeing generative assisted sales?
Do we need salespeople at all? Honestly, I've been in sales for a very long time, and I said, "Oh, dude, if you have really good content and you're sending it to the person and they get it,
They'll
why
just
did
buy
you
it.
talk to anybody to buy it?
Yeah,
I want
yeah.
that shirt. I want that software." So yes, uh, it can be used for assistance. I would say what I found in one article was that Gen AI just willy-nilly isn't going to help somebody be more productive or do their job better. So if you use Gen AI as intended for whatever tool that is, you can see 40% increase in that person's productivity. If it's used outside of how it's supposed to be used, they found that it was actually a 19% decrease in productivity. So just saying, oh, let's add an AI chatbot here or that, without going through taking your time and thinking through who's it for, how are we going to implement it, and doing it properly as it's meant to be done, could slow down or hurt the RevOps side of things.
Well, I agree with you. And I think there's a piece that we have to all remember, and it's called human interaction. Can you imagine talking to a bot that has a human face, looks human, but maybe doesn't quite sound human? Yeah, there's nothing. I don't know. I could be wrong here, but I don't think there's anything that's ever going to replace that piece.
Jerry, this reminds me something, and maybe you guys have seen the news. The Qatar Airways just launched the first digital cabin crew, and they launched in this week. So now, when you are in the flight and your actual cabin crew is tired in a long haul, so you don't need to wait for them. You just get your digital crew, and they will be helping you out. So that's something scary and also interesting at the same time.
Yeah, that's a little scary. We'll take one more Q&A from the audience. Calvin's got a question. Insightful discussion, he says. He's loving it. Would love to hear thoughts on how does the integration of Gen AI functionalities into marketing automation tools transform customer engagement strategies, and what are the main challenges businesses might face in this adaptation? So I think what he's talking about primarily is customer engagement strategies with automation tools. Maybe Matt can tackle that one.
Much faster cycle times. So being able to react from data is much, much faster. And yeah, that's my main thing. Greater personalization and much faster cycle times.
Cool. Okay, so back to the panel. So how are we going to navigate this ethical and privacy issues? We kind of touched on that earlier. Let's talk about privacy and ethical concerns. Is it just the Wild West and everybody's going to kind of manage themselves, which always never seems to go well because business is hungry. It's like a monster, has to be fed with revenue and profits and shareholders and all that stuff. So how are we going to tackle this privacy and ethical piece? Anybody?
I went to a panel, the Women in Disrupt breakfast at TechCrunch Disrupt in the fall, and it was a lot of the conversation was about the ethics behind AI, not just generative, but the whole big blanket term AI in larger firms, smaller firms, startups. And the stories they shared were pretty fascinating. Like a woman taking her picture and putting it in to say, "Give me a professional headshot," and then all of a sudden her shirt is low cut, right? How do you police that or make it so it's not happening all the time?
Give me
How
a
do you,
turtleneck.
yeah, right? Always give me a turtleneck. But
Right.
how do you know what's true on the internet? What garbage in, garbage out, sexism, racism? How do we, you can't really police the whole world of the internet, or can you?
Well, okay, this is just me shooting from the hip, but I think ultimately it's a tool, just
Huh?
like a shovel. You can dig a small hole, you can dig a big hole, but you ultimately decide. So you're telling the AI, chat GPT or whatever, hey, give me a headshot, make me look blah, blah, blah. It spits out something. You're like, no, that's not right. I want a turtleneck. I want
And
short
change.
hair. I want some hair or whatever the case may be. And I think ultimately we're in control of the AI, really. What do you think?
Yeah, still at the end, there's a human in the loop today, just like the last 10% human review, edit, approve. You see a lot of the problems that happen. They over rotate one way, then they go back the other way. So as long as you keep involved in following all of it and build in the right, if you're building AI, build it as ethically as you can. It's following rules and scanning data. So keep making your data better and your rules better. But we'll keep getting to a better and better spot with it.
So I will bring, I'm a little scared to do this, but I will bring in a question with regards to this deep fake politics and pushing out content that underlying it all is meant to deceive. What do you think, Matt?
Oh, it's a tough question. I don't know if anyone else wants to take that.
Go ahead,
It's-
Chelsey. You can do it.
There's a good Shane Gillis joke where he starts about the first person who takes the answer doesn't get a good response. Well, it's like back in the day where you could just do sponsored posts on Instagram and people made a fortune and nobody knew that it was sponsored. So will there be across everything, this was generated by AI, this was generated by AI, that's mandatory? And how do you, again, I don't want to keep using the word police that, but you'll see people's social posts that are all starting to look the same. They're all using Canva. And you say, oh, that's the Canva template I just used for that.
Yep.
So you can start to see it, but in terms of deep fakes and
I think we need to have I don't enjoy regulation, but humans are humans and we got to be slapped on the hand once in a while. So I just can't help but think when it comes to disseminating public information about politicians or whatever, that if anything's generated by AI, it needs to be required.
definitely needs to be disclaimed. Yeah.
Totally.
I'm sure people are building a technology that's just a plug into that would detect AI and it will start to just tell you.
Yeah. Yeah, that would be, well, that might be on LinkedIn and Facebook and all those guys. So that would be a good thing personally. Okay, we're down in the home stretch for our show. So let's talk about the future. And I think between Jalil, Chelsey, and Matt, we'll have some comments here. So, what future trends, advancements in AI should marketing professionals be kind of anticipating? We'll start with Matt, left to right.
Yeah, again, we're getting more and more closer to people being able to read people's brains and everything. So it's going to start to predict and produce what you're thinking soon. That's a near term.
Yeah, that's right around the corner.
It already knows the data, what you're looking at, what you're liking, and you're seeing stuff similar, but it's going to start to make it more and more personalized just for you.
It's just going to pull all that data together and make a supposition, which will be probably 95% accurate. All right, Chelsey, what do you think? What's coming?
I'm ready for the new shopping experience. So if I was watching the Barbie movie and I saw America Ferrera's pants, I said, I love those pink pants. can I just take a picture? And if anybody on this invents this, let me know. I'll come work with you. Can I take a picture? And it tells me all the different options of where I can buy that pants like this. And if this exists, I don't know. But does it cut out all of the searching and garbage and just get you to what you need?
Yeah.
Maybe from software too. I need something that does this, this, and this, and it shows you everything right away. There's just so much
That's
digging that goes on.
It's kind of like a version of Shazam. And I say that because when I walk into Chipotle, they're always playing cool jams. And I invariably, every time, standing in line, waiting for my burrito, and I'm just like, oh, yeah, I like that song. So I pull up my Shazam it, like, okay, I got that on my list. I'm going to get that song. And in your case, you're watching a movie and you see some pants, or maybe you tell your TV, I love those pants. How do I get them? And then it says the actor is wearing a pant made by blah, blah, blah designer, and you can purchase those here for $2,962, or you can also get those at Walmart for $19.95. That would be cool.
That changed, like, what is the marketing person doing to get you that pair of pants right there, even if
Yep.
it's not the same brand?
That's cool. So Jalil, tell us, buddy, get into your crystal ball. What's coming around the corner?
I think, I mean, there are again multiple ways to look at that. Some people are too obsessed with Skynet, so they may be thinking the next Black Mirror is coming around the corner with
Right.
the AI. But like personally, I see that the huge, as Matt mentioned and Chelsea mentioned, the huge shift of personalization. I would love to see the enhancement of this whole personalization within the augmented reality, like that shopping, like we, especially over the weekend, I don't want to go to maybe Costco or Walmart, and I don't want to spend a lot of time there. So, but I really want to have that mesmerizing experience which it belongs to me, and I feel in there. So I think that is around the corner. And we have previously we had a major issue of the segmentation. The one piece of information exists in the Facebook, the other is Google Analytics, and then the other is a advertising platform. Then there is some is the email automation system. Some exist in a CRM. So that is no longer a problem. If the companies have already taken the right measure, so these information are going into the a piece of information are going into the generative AI and bringing back a really strong piece of personalization. So that's what I'm excited to see.
That's cool. Okay, the only questions we have left are from the audience, so we'll try to keep these answers brief, but anyone can pick up on this. So Majid is asking, how do you anticipate AI transforming the landscape of talent development within marketing and operations team, and what new skill sets might emerge? What do you think, Matt?
Well, hopefully it's able to help bring new employees to your business that are that are qualified for the roles by predicting resume and other areas of social media that they're a good fit. So send them your way. So one of the worst experiences is when companies don't get back to people after they've been interviewed. So hopefully it helps make that easier. So you're potentially, if you're hiring someone, you're interviewing less people, but they're more qualified.
You know, I've tackled this whole job search process, and I have to tell you, now this would take a company that would be pretty forward thinking, but I would love to see them punch in information for the job, and then 2 weeks later, there's a guy at the front door or a gal saying, "Today's my first day," and that whole process was managed by AI. It was all unbiased, and it had nothing to do with race. It had nothing to do with age. It was just pure data based upon abilities, experience, and personality type for a good fit. And next thing you know, you got somebody sitting at a desk ready to go to work, and 80% chance it's a great fit. I don't know. What do you guys think?
Pushing back on an ethical question.
Okay, what's that?
Well, even it's how you say it's unbiased, but then even does the personality test, how do you do a personality test with your people that are already in the office? Or that's a tough one.
Well,
AI
you
AI
don't
and
fit
jobs
them.
is scary to me.
I don't think you fit them with the team, probably, which is a total crapshoot anyway.
Yeah.
But you you lay out the position and the personality type that would be the best fit. And then the AI is just going out, find that person. And then honestly, it's up to the team to be adults and be able to work with different people. You know, Bob's kind of annoying, but he's a great guy. You know, you got Susie over here. She's pretty commanding, but she knows her stuff. You know, it's about being able to be flexible instead of this like, well, you know, we're not sure if he'll fit with the team kind of thing. It's like, give me a break. Move on. Okay, we got another question, but yeah, good answer, Chelsey. I like that because there are some issues there. Let's see here. We got we just already got him. Zaman, is it going to impact the jobs in the job market in the future as it gets more powerful? Well, I think we kind of touched on that. What do you think, Jalil? How's it going to impact jobs?
I don't think so. Like, I'm optimistic. Even I still have some issues with the concept of AI at some level, but I don't think so. It is going to take over the world and take over the jobs, and people are going to,
Right.
jobless. The thing is, every couple of years or decades, the industrial revolution happened, and this is in our age, we are not going to see that in the decades. It is going to happen in the months or year. So that's
Right.
what I'm saying, and people just need to adopt. Like, I can tell you that recently there is a new AI developer, the first AI software Devon, I think that's a name of that LLM. They implemented that, and now if Devon is so intelligent to maybe create a website or app within a day, then the other developer, which has been in the company from last 10 years and is not up to speed for no code frameworks and does not want to integrate things with the very modern tools, still want to create things from scratch, I think that person is just ready to kill his or her job by themselves. It's not the AI.
Yeah. No, I have a tendency to agree with that for sure. Cameron is asking, what measures should organizations take to ensure responsible and ethical use of GenAI in marketing and operations? So what kind of guidelines and rules should companies be putting in place? What do you guys think?
I think we should start a survey and figure out this answer from the audience and keep this conversation going. That's a tough question, a good one.
Yes, it's a very good question. Just so our audience knows, some of the questions I've kind of skipped over because we've already touched on them. So if you don't see your specific question answered, it's because in the back and forth, we've kind of covered off on some of that. But yeah, that's a hard one to tell because it's like, my gosh, like where do you start? And it would take some input from lots of smart people to give us a well balance that allows business to do what it needs to do, but yet protects consumers and everyone else. So, audience, think about that. Throw out like a couple of words. If you got an idea of how companies could, be responsible and solve some of these ethical issues, what would be your idea? Let's see here. Aaron, how can AI-driven marketing initiatives be tailored to not only predict consumer behavior, but also proactively influence it, creating seamless and personalized customer journeys? Now I harken back to the whole data thing. Take some data at a certain level. What do you think, Matt?
Yeah, so you can pull in data, historical data, and you can do something called multimodal learning across the images, videos, copyright, what's driving interactions across each, in as granular as you can get. And then that can lead, then you can predict based on that. That's where we are today, at least.
Okay.
You just
That
have to
makes
move,
sense.
you have to react quick. So the past, it was people moved too slow, or the cycle was too long. Today, with the AI, you can move much, much faster to data.
Can I ask you a follow-up, Matt? So say the campaign goes out and halfway through you're seeing that this gal Chelsea's clicking on this or doing something along the journey. Can you change what's next in her workflow? So if I'm in an SMS workflow or I'm in an email workflow, can you change it based on how I'm interacting with tiny little pieces? of your campaign?
We're in ads today. So I mean, we're not to that point yet where you could change it unless you go react to what you're seeing across multiple people, really. Cause a lot of it's third party data you pull in, but that's where it's going to go.
So Jalil, could you take ad data and then say in HubSpot, right? Then enroll them in a workflow or something based on what Matt's system's showing you?
So the concept of CDP, which has been rising right now, this is exactly what you're referring to. So we really don't know. In CDP, the concept of CDP is we want to collect the variable information, and then we want to use some kind of LLM model, and we want to do that if else, which was a basic math, and then become a decision tree model, and now it's a workflow, and all the everything is happening under that. So we want to give the agility to the workflow, that if the variable changes, the behavior changes. Now it can build its own, it is not going to create own workflow, but it can choose its own branch, that where can it pull into that. So you need to CDP that, and there are some companies which have already done this kind of things, and it's amazing. I mean, it's amazing.
So Jalil, talk to us a little bit about what Mountainise sponsoring this webinar. Talk to us about what Mountainise is working on and what the future is looking like.
So I think that before I talk about what Mountainise is doing or what is our future, is that the biggest focus of having this kind of series or this kind of roundtable discussion is that we really want to see that how people or what people are thinking specifically to this niche, where the customer and the marketing and the sales are the focus, because these three area of the business are mostly the backbone of the business, generating revenue, and the challenges which these teams face are sometimes overlooked. Like if someone is having some issues with the email or segmentation, someone from the tech team will go, or maybe a manager goes by another tool, and that's it. But no one really think about, okay, what are the core challenges? So we really want to give that uh, space to our likewise community to come in and share the wild idea, raw ideas, and talk about it with no constraint. So that's the idea of having this kind of conversation. But with Mountainise, what we are doing from last couple of years, we started with the marketing automation, but at this point we are going into more into the CDP and implementation of an integrated 360-degree system. So okay, if you have a problem, today you have defined the problem, tomorrow you don't know the problem, like Chelsey mentioned, the HubSpot or Salesforce. So what we have developed our own framework, which are currently we are embedding with the LLMs, different LLMs. We don't have our own proprietary LLMs. So we are embedding with them and then letting it reside in the client specific platform, is marketing automation or the CRM, and basically producing the output which they're expecting. So like we consider ourselves more of a steer co, which can take the technology stack and put it in the right place where it is scalable, it is trustable, and it is giving the opportunity for the company to grow without having those backlashes which was happening in the past.
That's good. That's cool. I like what Chelsey was talking about from the standpoint. I could see you working in HubSpot, and you are going to create, let's say, a campaign of some sort. And you're going to create a landing page, and the landing page, the system asks you who's the target audience, blah 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 blah. What's the product type, and this and this and that. And as you're going through the steps of creating the landing page, you type in a headline, and the AI bot pops up and goes, Chelsey, for this particular audience, I just pulled some data, and a better headline that would engage them more could be this. And it's like,
Chelsey, stop saying groovy in all your titles. It's not
right.
It's not hip anymore.
Yeah, these young kids are like, they don't know what it is. The old guys do. But yeah, so as you're working through that process, that workflow, man, that's cool stuff. I mean, now you kind of got to go, man, what kind of title do I want to slap on this? Well, let me jump over to Chat GPT and ask it, and it gives me some ideas, and but it's not necessarily basing it on the audience and the current trends and all that sort of thing, where in this case it would.
Yeah.
That'd be cool. All right, last question for the show. This one comes from, let's see, Brian James. And he says, How can businesses effectively integrate generative AI into their marketing strategies to stay ahead of competitors in this rapidly evolving digital landscape? We'll start with Matt on that one.
My favorite thing is I like to follow a lot of the AI newsletters and their marketing tailored ones, like Ben's Bites is one, and there's 10 new apps on there every day or week, and just go test a
Right.
couple of them a week and then use a fake brand if you don't want to use your own data on it. And that's how you can understand how the pieces connect and then continue to go through your buying process on the major purchases you're doing.
Lots of testing. I've been playing with CRM platforms for 20 years. I've tried and played with and used and integrated tons and tons of CRM platforms, and you start getting a good idea at, you know, use cases and what types of businesses they work good for. Not everybody should be on Salesforce. You know, Salesforce is very expensive and it's kind of a big behemoth, but for a lot of businesses, it's the perfect solution. For a lot smaller business, you know, it might be something else. So what do you think, Chelsey, on that final question there?
I was just thinking back to how L'Oreal's been using GenAI to spot feedback from customers, from comments all over the internet, from different sites, and just analyze what their competitors are doing, see the gaps. So there's no cream. I'm talking a lot about shopping and creams today. Sorry about that, guys. But there's
That's
no
okay.
cream that makes your ear the softest in the world. Oh my gosh, this is a problem that people are posting about a bunch. And everyone said, our cream doesn't do that. Let's get over to the product team and have them look into in the R&D ear cream. There's a reason I don't work at L'Oreal, but that's, you know, being able to quickly see what else is out there and analyze it and figure out, okay, so if I was going to do this, how could I do it? Just get ideas back and start that cycle of content creation or product development.
Yeah, that's great. That's great. Well, we're running out of time. Jalil, any final comments you'd like to throw out there before we close the webinar?
Chelsey, you need a retail therapy. I really appreciate Matt and Chelsey to join and Jerry to bring this conversation alive. It is fun and more raw, realistic. So I would love to just keep it going. And so yeah, that's how I see it.
Thank you. Well, we want to thank our panelists for showing up, hanging out with us, and talking about generative AI and how it fits in with marketing. Matt, Chelsey, and Jalil, you guys have been awesome. I hope the audience has learned a few things. Some of the things we talked about is, the ethics piece of it and how it integrates with current marketing trends. Matt is with OmniKey. You might want to check them out. They're kind of cool. They got some really cool technologies. So thanks a lot, everyone, for coming to the Mountainise webinar on generative AI marketing. Enjoy your week and be safe out there. Take care.